Andean Abyss is one of the best 4-player board gaming experiences out there. This is part 2 of a crazy game I played. Hope you'll tune in and see what happens here on Legendary Tactics. And so we kick off the action with Killzone, which is a pretty decent event. Now, because I'm starved for resources, I'm going to have to likely do this event. And I'm going to attack the FARC stronghold in Guaviare, which is a bit of a pain. Now, I have left myself a bit vulnerable here. Andean Abyss is a little bit more forgiving than some of the other coin games. If you don't have any resources, a lot of time you can kind of make do, certainly for a shorter period. But myself and the government being quite broke could be a bit of a problem here. But anyway, we'll see how this plays out. After all, I have, if you'll recall, I do have control of Bogota, so got full control with 5 underground guerrillas there. I can rally there, can build a base there if I want to. So it's a pretty crazy situation. I don't know if I've seen that before in any way where the FARC have actually taken Bogota with some strength. Now, the government's obviously not going to let that stand, but it may distract the government and the other factions a fair bit. As I am 13 over the victory point barrier, and I'm hoping that it'll be a very quick prop card, because if it is, then we're in good shape. So the AUC terrorizes and assassinates, as you might expect, cutting aid down to nothing. But causing a big dent in my position. I mean, it was going to happen at some point anyway, so Meta West, Meta East, and Arauca all took the hit. I'm still at 7 over, but obviously I need to get more bases down and rally them back. And with Narco War coming up, that's always kind of an interesting one. So the cartels pass on narco war, and the government takes the opportunity to train troops in from Santander. They don't have the resources to do much else. Why they didn't sweep in, I'm not exactly sure, but whatever. And then they eradicated in Atlantico and removed a cartel's base, hurting their support. But at this point, they really need... in some ways, I'm not the problem. The cartels are the problem, because with all those bases in the cities, oh man, that is going to be tough to get those out. So anyway, it's going to take a very concerted effort, and the government doesn't have a lot of resources to do that. So the cartels take the opportunity to rally and bring in guerrillas from different spots to all over the place, basically. The idea, I think, would be to take the action, but not allow the event. The event would be pretty devastating, actually, more to the government than anyone else. But it certainly wouldn't be a good thing for that event to happen for the government. So. At any rate, the cartels take that rally action. And as I don't have a lot of choice, I just pass, leaving the AUC to pass as well. So everyone's a bit starved for resources, except for the cartels at the moment, which is not an unusual situation in Andean Abyss. So the missile antiaéreo, I'm trying to say this right. This was an opportunity for me to rally and extort a little bit. So I was able to get some more bases down, and left me with 1 resource. I like to have 1 resource, because then at least if there is a limited operation opportunity, then you can take it, because you have that 1 resource. But it's never nice being completely at 0 if you can avoid it. So anyway, I got some bases down here, and got some more guerrillas in place here, and so forth. So looking to rebuild my lead in the victory point setup. So we're at 11 now. And because Missile Antiaero doesn't really affect me that much. The AUC and the government both pass. The government obviously taking the event to get aid, and there wasn't a lot of aid to be had, but it was a few resources and did boost aid for next time. However, if the AUC are going to continue to do all their heavy lifting, then it's not going to be in place for long. The AUC then rallies to place a base in Cucuta here. Oh, where is that? Yeah, in the city here. Again, I don't see the value in getting established in the cities. It's not the same as the cartels. I think in some ways the mountains might be better and more useful. But anyway, this AUC player is very interested in rallying in the city, and then did a bunch of extortion to get some resources back. Next up is General Offensive, which is normally an event that is very hard for the FARC to pass up because you get a lot of assaults and you can do a lot of damage. But as I'm surveying the territory, I just see limited upside to doing that and flipping over all my guerrillas and so forth. I might get lucky and take out a few AUC guerrillas here and there. But overall, I figured it might be better just to take the rally, and I'll show you here. We got a massive rally in Bogota. Look at this, is because the government responded with their train. I think I can't remember, or maybe they did a sweep earlier. Anyway, but you look at this massive group in Bogota. I've got a base down there now. And there's some real issues with that spot. So I think it fast forwarded through a turn here where the government must have taken that. Oh no, they did. I did cover that. So anyway, the FARC rally there is just crazy. And not a situation that the government would ever want to find themselves in, especially with fairly low resources. So I thought that was too good to pass up. And for the cartels in that case just took a rally, placed a base in Bucaramanga, which is this city right in the center of the mountains here. Again, just getting bases down so sneaky. They're just so good. The one that it kind of skipped over very quickly here is the Union Sindical Obrera. The AUC took the chance to rally and moved some AUC underground, placed a base, and in general just kind of consolidated their position, did some basically some consolidation around their bases. And again, to me, I don't see the advantage of the cities all by themselves in cities, but I guess there's no FARC there, so maybe it's a decent strategy, come to think of it. But anyway, just rally and extort there. And the government did a limited sweep to they swept in more troops from Santander and police, and activated 12 FARC and activated the cartels there as well. So obviously in panic mode. So next up is Mono Jojoy, which is how I've always pronounced it. I don't know if that's correct, but anyway. So Mono Jojoy, given my lack of resources, I figured this would be a good opportunity to take the shaded event where I free march any of my guerrillas and flip 3 underground. So just marched out to different surrounding areas. I figure I can use those for potentially placing bases later, potentially extortion later. And I don't want to fight for Bogota. It's a losing battle long term. The FARC are not equipped to handle all the government troops and police that are going to flow in from this. So, but I kept 3 guerrillas in Bogota. The idea being I could terror up to twice without without revealing my base. So I thought that served my purposes, especially given my low resource count. So that was why I did that. That left the cartels open to Ops plus special activity. They, of course, rallied some more, placed some more bases, and placed some more shipments. I just feel like everyone's going after me. Perhaps the attack on Bogota was a bit risky in that it takes the attention of the government away from the cartels, but man, the cartels are building up a great position. Anyway, the next one up is it kind of skipped past was Castaño. The AUC took the event to place a base in Santander and got some resources out of it. So they're up to 14 resources, which is, for the AUC, they are pretty rich. The government then sweeps in Santander to activate the AUC and the FARC that are there, and in Antioquia to activate the FARC and the AUC there, and another eradicate in Atlántico, which unfortunately causes the alignment to go to neutral. So they're in kind of rough shape, and they're totally broke again. This was kind of a big risk that way. So airdropped AKs, and this is probably in some ways a decent event if I had a base to place, but instead I'm going to. Well, I will take the event actually, but I couldn't place a base. I was just looking to hurt the cartel's resources by 5. It's not an ideal move, but it's something that I was hoping to parlay into something more significant, trying to get the attention to the cartels and the fact that they're in pretty good shape, even though they're still well below the victory conditions. Cartels rally again and placing cartels guerrillas all around and bribing away my base in Bogota and in Cesar. So I'm accomplishing my goal of keeping the cartel's resources down, but I'm losing bases and they're in position to do more terror. And once again, the cartels are doing all the heavy lifting here. The government seems very reactionary, and the AUC is doing definitely some assassination, but kind of doing their own thing. You kind of get the feeling. So as we move on to the next card here, oil spill. Government passes and leaves the AUC to march. Now this is probably the first movement in a while that has actually spread out the AUC into FARC territory, and could be a bit worrying. I mean, the only saving grace is that the limitation of the AUC assassinate is 3, so it does limit their ability to they can certainly tie the game. But it should be no problem. As long as I've got at least a couple resources, I can probably get those bases rebuilt quickly, as long as there's no prop card that interferes. So they march around and they're spreading themselves thin, but that's what they need to do. Drogas la Rabaja is next up, which is a cartel's event. They take the opportunity to do terror, and they do terror in Bogota, Cesar, and then again spending a shipment for another terror in Bogota, which completely reverses me and my. I've now lost control, and the alignment in Bogota is neutral. So it's brought me down to terror. There would kind of bring things back, but once again the cartel is doing what needs to be done with terroring and just bringing down my capabilities, and I don't have the resources to come back. However, if there's a sudden prop card here, I could potentially make it work, but in this case the government passes. So now we're on to NSPD 18, and this is because the government passed, I did a limited rally in Bogota and placed a base here because I had that one underground guerrilla. I was able to do that. So still fighting to stay in the big city and cause some problems there. So Um, anyway, so NSPD 18 is next. And let's see here. So the government takes the event, gains 18 resources and plus 20 aid. So that definitely fixes the government's overall situation. And the AUC passes in that case. And now here we are, prop card. The AUC happens to be up after this move. So they do terror, and they assassinate, they remove bases. I'm down to -14, and this puts me in a really risky position here. But fortunately, I'm up. I just don't have any resources. I could stop the AUC. So this is where I essentially went to the government and said, look, like, you need to give me enough resources to win here, or to place a base here. Otherwise, it's going to be game over. So the cartels ended up helping me out again. The cartels keeping the game going, and I rallied in Meta West, placed a base, and that allowed the prop card to pass without the AUC winning. Note as well that the cartels are also right at the victory point, right at 0 as well. So so this game, as we head into the last campaign, is going to be really an interesting fight. I feel that my time to win probably has passed. I did have a window there if the prop card had come up earlier, but there wasn't the opportunity. There's some sabotage that happens. Just to summarize, the government's at -24, FARC at -13, AUC is at 0, cartels at -16, although with the earnings, after the earnings, as I said, it brings the cartels to 0. So they just need one more base down, basically, and they're good to go. So we look at the drug profits and so forth. Civic action happens. The civic action basically happens in Antioquia, Neiva, and Bogota, to bring those to passive support. And so we got Antioquia. Bogota's back to full support, and so that was ends that little adventure. And Neiva, the city here, back up. So now the government's actually back up to -2 after their time. Now I didn't get a ton of resources. I'm at 7. I didn't want to be broke again, so I did move Meta West to active opposition, but I figured I'll let the terror markers clear, and then I'll go in and do more damage with that next time. The AUC rallies one AUC guerrilla, and in Cesar in the north. So anyway, and then redeploy. So all the troops move back to Bogota. Basically, I think that's Bogota is going to be pretty locked down. There's a few troops that might move to Cali and so forth. But yeah, I think they want to really lock that city down and not let the invasion happen again. So Poppies comes up. The cartels actually pass on this one. So I take the opportunity to rally, get some more bases down, get a base down in Putumayo, Meta East. Now that the terror is cleared as well, anyway, it gives me an opportunity to get some rally and extortion done. I've got 2 resources now. I'll just scan down the map so you can see where things are at. It's definitely been a real back and forth, and the AUC is really well positioned to take out bases, unfortunately. So I'll do what I can. I've got an excess of troops probably in Santander. I don't know if I have enough time to do anything with that space anymore. So got to worry about time at this stage. So next is AUC, who passes, and the government does a Bogota sweep just to activate the everyone there, and with the hopes that they can get an assault in before we can respond, which is fair. All right, so next is Narcos subs. The cartels take the shaded event to take resources, and they got a lot of cartel pieces in coastal spaces. They get 22 resources. Takes them to 83. So that gives them more than enough. They just need to bribe, and they can bribe to their heart's content now, which is, I find the last campaign is when the cartels are at their most deadly. They're so powerful. The government does another sweep, interestingly, with the next card and an airstrike in Atlantico to remove one of the AUC guerrillas, which is kind of interesting. So that was kind of I guess, just to expose the base there. But there's quite a broad sweep. I'll again just scan down the map. You can kind of see a lot of the sweeps in cities to get rid of the cartels. A little bit too little, too late, I think, but had to be done. Activated all the guys in Santander. I wasn't really planning on doing much any there anyway, but especially as the government controls it so convincingly. But there you are. Next up is the FARC myself. Now, I took the shaded event basically to shift a space, specifically Santander, to neutral, and that would allow me the potential to rally there, or to it just struck me as something to bring the government back down a little bit. The AUC is up again, a bit of a risk there for a sudden win. But anyway, I just thought that would work well. Then the next one up is the Zona de Convivencia, and that led to more cartels rallying all over the place, and bribing, removing 3 AUC bases to keep them underground. So now the money talks now for the cartels. They are in very, very good control. They've had to rally or risk being eliminated from the cities. So they picked the cities that mattered for them, and rallied all their guerrillas there underground to protect their bases. And that's going to be a game that the cartels can play all day, and especially with bribing, with all their money that they have. They can continue to bribe a fair bit, and remove bases and keep both the AUC and myself under control. The chess, then this was followed by AUC limited rally, where they placed a base in Huila, completely unprotected. Again, might be fine. The government's got other targets to worry about, so that might be fine. So the government takes the chess player event to remove all the cartels pieces from 2 cities or 1 department, and removes the cartels from Santa Marta and from Cali, which is I think it's as good a move as any. There's just too many targets, but great timing for that event, for sure. It takes the cartels down to 6 bases. So we're all just hovering on the edge. I'm not particularly in great shape. I think I've missed my window, but the other players are all just hovering around, just keeping each other down a little bit to try and squeak out a win here. So I follow that up with a rally. It takes me down to 1 resource after my extort, but I get some more bases down. Get some bases mainly in the jungles. And of course, it still leaves me open to assassination, but I got to keep fighting, and I'm still at -11. So really, at this point, I'm hoping for some FARC control, so I can maybe win in the agitation phase of the next prop card. That's really going to be my only hope at this point. So next up is Darien. And it skipped a lot. So the cartels did a bunch of rallying around, and then did some processing to get some shipments. And the AUC rallied in Huila to build up a bit of a strong point. They've got some guerrillas there now. They've got some strength there now. So once again, the rallying continues for the cartel. They're placing a base in Medellin. Where's that here? Yes, right there, in the center of the board almost. And but basically just placing shipments, which is going to give them more operations and so forth. I don't know if they need the resources really. They've got still a bunch above the line, so they should be good. And we've only got 12 cards left, so it really, like, at any point, then the last prop card will come out. So Alfonso Cano, I'm going to take that event and agitate with at the end. Now, this was important. I think Alfonso Cano is great in the last campaign. If the game is close, because I just need no government control and a FARC piece. So that opens up the board wide for agitation, provided I have the resources to make use of it. Now, what a shame. Tapia, the government passes and takes Tapias because you have to, but it's too late for that card. It's too bad. That's one of the best cards. The other one being Ospina Mora for the cheap sweep. And this is a cheap assault card, but man, it's so good in the right context. Then we have the AUC doing a rally and placing a base in Santander, placing one in Cesar, and extorting and so forth. So getting all their bases down, and they're again just jockeying for the win. They're at still -3 negative to me here, but they're just getting in the right position for a potential win there. The Peace Commission draws a pass for me. It wasn't worth doing a FARC zone, especially not at this stage of the game. And the Cartels rally again and bring in some guerrillas and, of course, bribe, removing. At least they were democratic about it, and they removed one base each from myself and from the AUC. So I'll do a quick scan of things, and you can see that the Cartels are in a good spot. If they can just get bases down, they're in a really, really good spot. Not a lot of time left, though. So, the next card, so I'll rewind that. So the Operation Jacques is going to be I took the event there. Here, I'll show you the card. So I'm going to, I removed 2 troops and shifted the support in Bogota to neutral, which I thought was great because I've got a 1 FARC piece in there. I just will not let up on that. And the government does some training, gets some troops and police in various cities, and does civic action in Bogota to bring up their support again. They're pretty broke again. 9 resources left, and they have a lot to accomplish, especially with the cartels who are positioning themselves for a bunch of rallies and a bunch of bases going down this turn. So look out there. Okay, so we got Tingo Maria, and the cartels pass in favor of the next event because they don't want to lose 20 resources. That's fair. AUC rallies. They remove some guerrillas, get another base down. The base that was removed in Antioquia gets placed back. They do some extortion and basically place some guerrillas around. They've got again, they're just sitting in the position where they just have to take me down a little bit, and then they can finish off the game with a prop card. Then we have Mexican traffickers, and the cartels take that for the rally in the city of Ibagué there, get some more guys down, and the government passes. And this was not a useful event to me either, but taking a limited march, I was going to, I think I just went a bit fast there. So I was going to march into Huila and from Santander again, just to hopefully set up. All I'm looking to do right now is to spread around so I can use my insurgent momentum ability, just get pieces where there's no government control and see how many spaces I can flip. So next up is National Coordination Center. The AUC does an attack, interestingly. In Huila, they do an ambush and kill off a police and FARC guerrilla. Interesting, that's the only move they do. Government passes and goes for coffee prices to do an assault. And this is kind of interesting. So they assault in Santander, clear things, clear out the AUC guerrilla. They assault in Atlántico, and that's up in the north here. Clear out the AUC base. They remove all the stuff. All the FARC have now been removed from Bogota finally, and remove an AUC base in Antioquia as well. Which is up there. So the exposed base. Now again, I don't know. Like I think the cartels are really should have been the target there, but I don't know. I'm not that player there. So the cartels did a limited rally where they placed a base in Ibagué, in the city there, and they placed 2 guerrillas in Pasto. So again, just setting up the opportunity for the win. We're down to the wire here. Former military. I should go back here. It keeps skipping. I'm going to try and skip through here and step by step. And okay, former military comes up. The AUC does an extort in a few spots and gets 5 resources and does places a base in Choco and a base in Arauca. Again, they have all their bases down, just looking for the opportunity for an assassination. They see I'm broke, so we could be in trouble here. And I do a limited attack in Santander. I thought, why not? And I got rid of the base and a police, so that was pretty useful for me. Bit of a high risk thing. With my 1 limb op, I basically have no money now though. High mountain battalions, again, like the government took the event, but I don't know. It's way too late for that. I would have done anything else other than that. As of course the cartels then take the opportunity to rally and process, placing cartels guerrillas around Pasto, placing a base there, Cali, Bogota, Ibagué. So they're now at 12 bases. They just keep coming. Their resources are getting close to the line, though. They're at 45. They don't have a ton to spend to stay above the victory point condition. But, man, they are just so entrenched. And this cartels player knew exactly what they were doing. Very hard for the cartels to win in the first half of the game. But if you can hang on and just keep the game going until especially the last campaign, it's pretty tough to win. So AUC does a bunch of rallying around. We're down to the last couple cards here. So placing a base, and again, just trying to keep the bases up. They're actually getting fairly broke as well, down to 1 resource. So they're not in great shape either. Then the next one up was the Senado and Camara. And the government takes the event to flip some spaces to passive support and gain some resources. Again, kind of useless. It doesn't do much of anything. The cartels set up a rally, get another base down, spend a shipment again to add more cartels guerrillas in Bogota. They're looking to set up another base there. And there's the propaganda card. So we have the demobilization. AUC does a limited attack in Arauca and misses. And I had no choice but to pass. There's nothing I could do. The cartels win with surprisingly only 3 over the line, but they did very well. So just as a final look, you can see AUC's broke. I've got 1 resource from my pass here. Government at 15 resources. And you can see I was well short of the mark. But let's take a quick scan through. And this was a crazy game, quite fun, especially when I moved into Bogota. It gave me a lot of pleasure to do that. Arguably, if we had made it to the point where I could have used the Alfonso Cano card, I could have potentially boosted my. I don't know. I didn't do the math, and it depends on. I mean, getting 7 resources, I could have maybe flipped a few spaces, but realistically, this game was the cartels. Cartel's game, and the AUC had also had a very, very good chance of winning as well. So anyway, thank you for sticking around for this playthrough. We hope this was interesting and fun for you to watch, and hopefully it inspires you to get out the game Andean Abyss and play it, especially 4-player. It's a lot of fun and it's pretty wild. So anyway, thanks again for watching. This has been Legendary Tactics.